60 Minutes with Angela starts right now.
Nigeria, it's taken 4 years of legal and political struggle to get the association registered. Finally, the party got its certificate of registration from Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission in January 2018. What does the Socialist Party of Nigeria stand for? I'm Angela Ajitimobi. The Socialist Party of Nigeria was launched as an initiative of the Democratic Socialist Movement and held its inaugural conference in Lagos on the 16th of November 2013. Now, Chinedu Bosah is the National Secretary of the party, and he joins me on the program today. Thank you very much, Mr. Bosah, for coming on the program with me today.
Yeah, thank you, Angela.
The first thing that I noticed was that not many people know that if the Independent National Electoral Commission fails to respond to a party's petition within 30 days as prescribed by law, the party would have to be registered automatically. That was news to me.
That's the law.
That's the law.
Yes, 78 Electoral Act.
So when you guys petitioned INEC, you knew that.
We knew that.
It's taken you a long time to get to this point. Tell us about the challenges that the party has encountered to achieve this legal status you have now.
Just before we applied in 2014, the application was submitted on June 12, 2014. Just before then, INEC charged off administration fee from 100,000 to 1 million.
Wait. Let me stop you there.
Yeah.
To register a party, you pay an
administration fee, yes.
To the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
Yes.
And they jacked that up from 100,000
to 1 million. To 1 million. That was briefly close to when we were to do our application. So that also was a big challenge.
A setback.
A setback. It took us a while to raise that money because we don't have money back and we don't want money back. So it took us a while contributing. Those who could give 1,000, who could give 5,000, 20,000, 50,000, 500, 200. That was how we raised that money amongst our members to be able to pay for 1 million. In any case, there was no justifiable reasons for that administrative fee because INEC is costing this country billions of naira on an annual basis. So why do you need political party to pay administrative fee? As a matter of fact, in the Constitution, I think section 228 or so, thereabout, it was stated there that the National Assembly should make a law for the purpose of giving grants to the political parties. So why would the Constitution say give grant to the political parties? And the other way around again, you are charging administrative fees. It shows that the agenda to keep away smaller parties.
I'm seeing the section here, section 228, subsection C.
Yes, sir.
An annual grant. For disbursement to political parties
equitably
on a fair and equitable basis to assist them in the discharge of their functions. So, do you get that?
Yes.
Your party gets that?
No, we've not gotten that.
Not gotten it yet?
We have not gotten it yet.
Okay. When do you start getting it? Do you have to exist
it's supposed to be an annual grant. Perhaps it was just January, so maybe between now and 1 year time. But you know that there are some associations who just to form a political party just to get the grants. So it has its own negative implications. People who just use it for political business. Grants, yes.
And when they say fair and equitable basis, what does that mean? They pay different amounts to different
political parties. Yes.
What is the criteria?
Well, the yardstick, it's left to them. I can't be sure what the criteria are.
Yes.
But I'm sure perhaps they are maybe be looking at the number of persons you have in offices. Well, that does not also reflect the number of work you do, because you may have people in the office because you have big money to run campaigns and other stuff, but it doesn't reflect the number of activities.
People in the
House of Assembly, National Assemblies, Governor, and the rest of them.
But the Socialist Party of Nigeria is new.
Yes.
You didn't participate in 2015
15 election, yes. Okay, so we didn't participate. Perhaps it's going to be smaller if the grant will even come compared to APC and the PDP.
Okay.
Even Labour
Okay, so you managed to gather this 1 million and submitted it to INEC.
Yeah.
And what was the next step after that?
First, they said they were not going to do anything with anybody except to pay the 1 million. So that was done, I think, in January or so, 2014. And so we got a proof of that, sent it to them before they gave us the form. All NEC members have to fill those forms, 50 copies each, every NEC member. So we have to assemble all the NEC members in Lagos to fill the forms. So after which we submitted constitution of the party,
yes,
the manifesto of the party, 50 copies each. That actually was submitted on June 12th. 2014. They didn't respond to us until July 17th. So we wrote them a letter to say, you are supposed to get back to us within a month. The next letter we got was, I think, July 30 or so, saying that they were calling all NEC members for verification in Abuja. And we said it is not a constitutional requirement. It's not even in the Electoral Act. So even if you want to do that for administrative purpose, why not do that from where members are residents?
Yes.
Because you have somebody in Kogi.
That's added cost.
Yes, you have somebody in Kogi, you have somebody in Lagos. And most of our NEC members are workers.
Yes.
It's not the money bag businessmen who can fly to Abuja and come back just within.
Short notice.
Yes, a short notice. So we told them all that. They said they were not going to accept it. And the next letter we got was that our registration has been terminated. I don't know what that means, but what they were actually saying in essence is that the registration process has come to an end. We are not going to be registered.
Due to your failure
to get all the NEC members in Abuja. As a matter of fact, we have one or two of them outside the country studying. So how do you get them from the US to come and do verification just for NEC officials to see their faces?
Yes.
And I mean, try to get if they are Nigerians or whatever, I don't know, but
yes,
it doesn't make sense. Some people have an exam to do, yes, some work in remote areas, and some are sick, they can't travel. So we gave them that options, but they were not ready. Apparently, they were working to an answer. Stop these guys from getting registered. And so we have to file a case. And that was actually filed on, I think, September 10, 2 days before it will expire. Okay. At the Federal High Court, Abuja. But you know the cumbersome nature of our judicial system, yes, very expensive, time wasting. So it took us 3 years plus to get justice and judgment. And that came on November 28th last year.
2017.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just listening to you. I thought registering a political party was one of the easiest things to do because we have so many parties.
Yes. I think 68 now or so.
Is this typical of what every other party has gone through? Or, I mean,
it appears so. It appears so. That's what most of them must have gone through. Some even got to court, like Young Democratic Party also, yes, went to court, got judgment. I think 2015 or thereabouts.
So when you got the judgment at the Federal High Court, Abuja, in November 2017,
yes,
what did that judgment say?
The judgment said that INEC should register the Socialist Party of Nigeria within 30 days. That was Justice Gabriel Kolawole, yes, of the Federal High Court.
Did INEC obey that order?
They didn't. We are also trying to reach out to them to know what is happening, yes, within the establishment. We didn't even get any call, letter, nothing.
Within that 30 days,
no, we didn't. But we started making calls, and it was in the process of trying to know what is happening. Whether they want to go on appeal, we're not sure.
Yes.
That we got to know that they are actually going to register us. I think few days before we got our registration certificates, about 21 of them or so of the political party newly registered, yes, were assembled in Abuja. They gave them and they said we could also do ours on a day of our choice, after we did it on January 15, 2018.
In terms of the requirements for registration, is there anything in the law that says that a political party must have a certain coverage over a certain number of states, for instance, 2/3 of the states in Nigeria, for it to be qualified to be registered?
It's one of the major criteria in the 1999 Constitution as amended. You have to have that spread. 2/3 specifically, I think 24 states plus Abuja Federation. Yes. So you have to have that as leaders of the party at the national level. So that is a major criteria. Then the second criteria, major also, is that you must have your office in Abuja. So these are the two major headquarters. These are the two major criteria to get registered. Apart from your constitution, manifesto, you must not be seen to have violent platform and all those. These are the two major criteria.
And when you say the spread, whoever is, for instance, representing the party in Benue State must be resident there.
No, the Constitution did not say it must be resident there.
Okay.
The Constitution only says 2/3, which also means
must be present in that state.
Not present in that state. You must have leaders who are from that state. So it's possible that somebody is from Benue,
but living
in Lagos, or living in Ogun, or living in Kogi. Understand? So you must have that spread. But what we did is, as best as possible, to have people who also will live. Not all of them who are origin of that state and also live in that state, but in certain yes, in building the party.
You do know that the two main political parties in Nigeria, the All Progressives Congress, APC, which is the ruling party, and the main opposition party, People's Democratic Party, PDP, they're not based on any known ideology like we have, for instance, in America or in the UK, where you can say the party stands for
this
anti-abortion. What is the ideology of the Socialist Party of Nigeria?
Well, before I go through the ideology of the Socialist Party of Nigeria, it will not be too correct to say APC or PDP don't have an ideology. Right. They have an ideology based on the bourgeois way of running society, the capitalist way of running society. It's a far right defense of a few privileged people. It explains, elitist, yes. It explains why you see the inequality growing in all sectors of the economy between the rich and the poor as well. So they have an ideology, and they are true to type. They are defending that ideology. Socialist Party of Nigeria, the ideology is socialism, which also means that the interests of the vast majority must be taken into account. So for us, when you plan production and services, you are planning it to meet the needs of all. That is what socialism is all about. That is what Socialist Party stands for. And so it's at variance of what we have presently with the APC and PDP.
Is socialism different from communism?
They are just the same thing. It depends on semantics. The original propagandas of socialism, Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, then Vladimir Filanov, Lenin, Trotsky and the rest, from what they propagated, scientific socialism, that socialism will lead to communism. You understand? So at the level of socialism, it's still class-based. You have not been able to resolve all the contradictions within society. Yes. So you are trying to build, you are trying to create an egalitarian society. But at the level of communism, no matter what you are giving it, so far you are giving your best, you are getting your needs in return. So they are two different things, but it's one leading to the other. Socialism leading to communism. But not what we have in certain countries of the world where they say they are doing communism. Because if a man is a man and he comes out and says, I'm a woman, it doesn't mean he's a woman. Like what we have in North Korea, we have in Cuba, very monstrous, undemocratic society. Like Leon Trotsky said, you cannot have socialism without democracy. It's just like the human body without the oxygen.
So they go hand in hand?
Yes.
Is the Socialist Party of Nigeria against capitalism? I mean, are you against people working hard and acquiring wealth? Are you against wealthy people?
We are not against that. We are only against primitive accumulation of wealth. So in the first instance, we are talking about the commanding heights of the economy being run by the states. It's a different thing. You have small and medium-scale businessmen and women at their level, because even if we take over power today, we are not going to resolve all the contradictions overnight. So you have for a while, you're going to have small and medium-scale businessmen in different areas of the economy. But the major stake, those stake of the economy that determine the direction of the economy, like the oil, the steel, the banks. These are the major say of the economy. Those ones will be in the hands of the states, so that to give direction, so that you begin to industrialize the economy. That's the only way even the small and medium scale will begin to strive. In an economy where, as we speak, there's no electricity, no road, and they are struggling to survive. Many of them are closing down. So it is when you have that kind of agenda, you can have even private companies at the small and medium scale level making money.
So join us again after the break. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, it's 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajetomobi. On my hot seat today, the National Secretary of the Socialist Party of Nigeria, Chinedu, Bosah. Okay, so why do you think that Nigeria needs a socialist alternative?
Basically because the ruling elite has failed woefully in all ramifications, in all sectors of the economy. And the reason why they have failed is basically they are not looking at the country from the point of the productive capacity of the working masses, the vast majority. They are not looking at the country from the point of view that a lot of people need upliftment, education, health. For a bourgeois, first thing, the priority is the profits. And if AWO and the rest had done that, profits, markets, perhaps many of us wouldn't have gone to school in the first instance. So for them, it is profit. And we have said clearly that on the basis of profits alone, you understand, you can't move a backward country like Nigeria forward. It's not possible. For instance, you're talking about 70% of Nigerians living below poverty. So how do you get them out of that poverty? If you say, okay, you want to charge market price, you want to charge profitable price, international price, market price, it is not possible. And it explains why their policies year in, year out failed. It explains that you can go on and on from one sector to another. It has failed woefully. That is the reason why Nigerians, the working masses, the vast majority, needs Socialist Party of Nigeria. They need socialism.
What has been the response to your party since registration? Have Nigerians responded in terms of joining the party, and how are you faring in that respect?
Well, we have started mobilizing the people. We have gotten wonderful responses from the people. Don't forget, the politics that we know in this country is the politics of patronage. You join the party, you get this, you get 1,000, you get 2,000, you get 5,000, you get small contracts, you get this, you get that. Those who are joining us clearly knows that they are joining us to contribute to building the party. So they are not expected to be giving money. You understand? So they are even contributing to the party, because it is the party that I know of all the parties now that is stating clearly that if you are a member of the party, you pay subscription.
You must have to pay your dues.
Yes, every monthly subscription, aside donations when needs arises. And we have had tremendous responses in that respect.
Are there any expectations? I know now you're not in office,
yes,
or in power in any of the National Assembly or
State House of Assembly
and all that. But the people who have joined and who are paying dues, are they expectant that someday, perhaps, if this party gets into power and into office, they will benefit over and above those who will be coming later?
No. There is no. I don't think the party has that kind of philosophy. For those who are joining and spending money, contributing to the party, it's more or less like a sacrifice you are making. Because in the overall interest of the country, if this country moves forward, it rubs off on everybody. Party members, non-party members, those who are joining lately, those who joined at the initial stage. Everybody joining now, those who are joining now will have that orientation. That is not just joining the politics, joining the party just to get benefit at the end of the day.
Yes.
Direct benefits. They have that orientation already. So they are not expecting, for many who are joining us, they know that rescuing this country is the challenge. And if this country is rescued, and if this country moves forward, as jobs are created, some of them will get jobs who are not employed. Not because they will get it far above or before other persons. Yes. They will get jobs, obviously, like every other Nigerian. So that is the orientations we have. So nobody's expecting to get any special
return on
investment.
Will the party be putting forward any candidates in the forthcoming elections? We have elections coming up in Ekiti State. We have elections coming up in Osun State. Those two states will have governorship elections before we get to the presidential elections in 2019.
Yeah.
Are you participating in any of those elections?
We are not participating in the two elections. We are not, because we are still at the level of setting up structures, mobilizing the people to join the party. So it is not wise to just contesting, because for us, SPN is not just an electoral platform. Yeah. It's like a movement of the people. And getting to power is not a calendar thing. It's building to a level where you get power and you get it. Not the Machiavellian kind of theory. Yes. You get power when you have worked so hard, then you need to make the necessary change that will come with it. So for Ekiti specifically, and Osun, we are not contesting the election. The general election, yes, we may contest in certain areas where we feel we are strong, and we know that candidates are those who are going to defend the interests of the working people.
Will you be participating in the presidential election specifically?
We are not sure yet. We are still discussing it between the parties. So yes, perhaps the party will decide when we get to the bridge. We cross.
Yeah. Talking specifically about Ekiti and Osun states, for instance, even though you're not fielding a candidate, will the party perhaps support candidate from another party?
If we have had a candidate from the left party.
When you say left, like Labour Party?
No, left. Labour Party is not left, as we speak. It's supposed to be left, but it's not left. It is now an exclusive platform of the rich, so it's not left. Where we have a left party, perhaps we would have done that, but we don't have any now. So we are not supporting any of the candidates. Yes. Because they are same of the same. It doesn't make any difference. It's just like between the devil and the GBOSA, choose. What we could be doing in the election is to call attention of the people, circulate leaflets, discuss with the people, the issues, what they must be demanding for, and join in the SPN to have a reasonable impact in Ekiti and Osun states in the common future. In the shortest possible time.
Okay, so let's talk about where the Socialist Party stands on current national issues.
Okay.
For instance, this reordering of the sequence of elections that the National Assembly is doing, and which has now headed into the courts for battle. Where does the party stand on that? Do you support the Senate reordering the sequence of elections, or do you want the sequence retained as it was before?
But ideally, it is the responsibility of INEC to do that in the first instance. So if you say somebody is in charge of an election, so why do you have to...
INEC, according to the law, INEC, the Electoral Act says dates of elections. The Senate is saying the sequence of elections. Do you see a difference in that?
I don't see a difference, because it's dates that will also determine the sequence. For us, INEC has that responsibility to determine the dates of the election, the sequence of the election. It's not the responsibility of the National Assembly. But be that as it may, whatever is ordering, that is not the headache of Nigerians, quite frankly, because if election is going to be free and fair, it's not whether the National Assembly election comes first or last, or whether the presidential election comes in midway, or the governorship election, the gubernatorial election come first. That is not why we have electoral malpractices and the rest of them. So it's like a diversion. Sometimes they throw these things and we start debating them. It lands in the courts and the rest of them. So for us, whichever is the sequence, let us have a free and fair election. And the only way you can guarantee a free and fair election, to have an election that is not heavily monetized. Yes. We have candidates, you have people in power who are dipping their hands in the coffers of the public purse, take money to do an election, campaigns, and the rest of them. So they are having an undue advantage over other persons. I think those are the issues, the National Assembly or perhaps Nigerians should focus on. Because whichever way they order it, I don't think that fundamentally determines whether the election is going to be free or fair. That is the position of the party.
What would your party do differently from what President Buhari and the APC are doing today, at least in terms of insecurity? Do you think, as many have said, that he has done well in insecurity? He's battled Boko Haram, recovered territory from them where they had hoisted their flags. Those areas are now going back to school, people are going back to their farms. Would you do better?
We would do better, because security is the responsibility of the people themselves. The bourgeois, the capitalist establishment has a way they organize security to meet the interests of the few. So they establish barracks outside the communities. So the people don't interact so much about, in fact, the community people don't have influence in security apparatus. So it's like somebody in the barracks. So if they strike in this community, before they even reinforce from the barracks down to the community, the damage is done. So that explains why we are calling for community policing, community defense platforms, where the people themselves, armed, democratically controlled and managed, will run security themselves. I mean, they can have a link with other communities. I mean, the security establishment also will be involved in that kind of community arrangement, so that if somebody comes to Dabchi to take 2 girls, I mean, the community at least will first engage them in a battle before even the military, wherever they are, could come. I'm too sure a well-mobilized or a more structured community defense system would overcome whatever. I can't imagine just few people come with trucks and they pick, overwhelm the whole community. Because the community, they are not armed.
So obviously the Socialist Party of Nigeria supports state police.
State police is different from community police. State police is police in the hands of the state governors. And you know what that can be. Some people posted on social media that state police in the hands of Aerofy. You know what that would. Because even without the state police, look at the kind of attacks on even their own party members. We're not even talking about workers. So state police is not the way out. They argue that if you have state police, it's easier to manage and other stuff. There's no guarantee that it is not going to be used against the people. So it's not the way out for us. When we talk about community police, we are talking about democratic control and management by the people themselves. So that even if police is in Lagos State, for instance, the communities at different layers are organized within that structures. The trained policemen will be there to train them, to get them armed. At least at the first instance, the community can respond to issues that has to do with security.
In terms of restructuring, where does the Socialist Party of Nigeria stand? Do you want the country restructured? You want a return to the Constitution of 1963, as many have advocated, or are you satisfied with the structure as it exists today?
The structure is not working. It's not working simply because of the way the society is run. It's not because...
Is that not as a result of bad leadership?
It's not just part of leadership. It's systemic. If, for instance, we're talking about more resources coming to the states, for those who have argued for restructuring, what is the guarantee that the man who was giving 50 billion looted a large chunk of it? Even if he's giving 200 billion, what is the guarantee that he will not loot in the same proportion as he has done with the smaller resources? So it's not a guarantee that even if you have restructuring. The reason why Nigeria worked, at least to some extent in the 60s and 70s, was because government was investing in the people. You saw governments having nationalistic agenda. We are talking about trying to see if they can get Nigeria industrialized, set up Ajakuta and the rest. They have national banks that give loans to farmers at a low interest rate. You had that agenda. You had government investing in industries like textile, factories and the rest of them all. That was the reason. Education helped. I've cited AWO and the rest of them all. In fact, before Jankode came to power in Lagos, some children go to school in the morning, they close, the another set go to school in the afternoon because there were no enough schools out there. But in 4 years, it was able to eradicate that. The fees the former ministry administrator collected, he refunded those ones. It was purely free education. To some extent, many people even got books. You understand? So that was why Nigerian worked. It was not because it was under these 3 geopolitical zones. It was because government was heavily investing in the people in infrastructure. You understand? That was the difference. It was not because it was under the regions as we have it as then. It was because we had the ruling class as at then who was thinking nationalistic, who were investing in the people. We are not saying there was even corruption there, no doubt. We have stories of Okatebo and the rest. But a large chunk of the resources was going back to society, it was going back to the economy, it was going back to the people in terms of health, education, and the rest of them. That was the difference. People confuse that because perhaps they have compared the 60s, 70s, 80s, early 80s, and they compared now, and they say, okay, no, I think the solution is to go back to region. That was not, even if you go back to region now, with the kind of political leaders we are going to be worse off, most likely. So there's no guarantee. You understand? So for us, we want a society where the leaders are investing in the people. Whether it's region, whether it's state by state, whatever. That is the kind of the country we're looking out for. So that is the difference.
Your party wanted section 223, subsection B of the Constitution scrapped. Why do you want federal character out of the Constitution?
I think the ruling class, the bourgeois ruling class, has inserted that just because they want to create a balance within the establishment, not a balance of the interests of the people. So for us, merits count most for us. So for the fact that somebody is not represented in Kogi does not mean that the party will not take the interests of the Kogi people into account. Yes. I don't know if you get that. Yes. So there's a difference. Because we have had this federal character running for a number of years, and still yet the communities are underdeveloped. Despite having people representing every community, maybe as councillor, local government chairman, House of Assembly, governors, House of Rep, and the state problem is still the problem of underdevelopment. So we are talking about merit, those who can do the job. And for us as a party, that is what we prioritize. Then when we get to a level where we can have a lot of people doing that job, federal character is not even an issue any longer because everybody will be represented everywhere. You understand? When you democratize society, even the community people are also in part of governance. Administration. So they are only trying to use it to create balance within the capitalist system. It's not to move society forward. Understand? So for us, it is merit that matters most in terms of moving this country forward. For the fact that Sokoto is not represented in a board or somewhere does not mean that Sokoto electricity, water will not be taken into account in terms of planning nationally. Every state.
But you do recognize the reason why federal character was put in there, to give everyone a sense of belonging. How are you going to convince people that they don't need that constitutional guarantee?
Well, a sense of belonging, not for the ordinary people. Don't forget, when you talk about board, we're talking about political appointment, the elites. Then it is not for the people, as we know. So that's why I was saying before that we are bringing a new orientation to politics. That the people must understand also that what is at stake is the big picture. It's not whether my town is represented or not. How do you resolve the agrarian crisis, for instance? Integrated rural development. What is the plan? The ruling elite does not have a plan in that respect. You understand? So for the fact that you have, you don't have somebody represented in a board or whatever, does not mean that we are not going to take care such. As a matter of fact, even at the community level, if you're talking about agriculture, electricity, those who are going to do those jobs are those people from that communities, from that state. They are not going to import somebody from somewhere to do it. Of course, perhaps you can have a certain respect, experts coming in to assist, but the bulk of the work will be done by workers in that area. So to that extent, they are represented. The quota system has been resolved.
Join us again after the break. Concluding moments now with Chinedu Bosah, the National Secretary of the Socialist Party of Nigeria. Now, in terms of salaries, perks and allowances of members of government, we've seen revelations coming from Kaduna State Senator Shehu Sani about the kind of allowances they're paying each other. And I read a lot of comments on social media, people saying the president should step in, stop those allowances. People forget that there is separation of powers and the president doesn't have such powers. What is the Socialist Party of Nigeria's take on these allowances and wages of members of government that seems so far removed from the ordinary man on the street?
Well, before we even got registered, it has been the template of the democratic socialist movement that the amount political office holder collects is mind-boggling. It's unfair to the economy, unfair to Nigerians. As a matter of fact, these are one of the things that causes inflation. Because when you earn an amount that is far above what you are supposed to earn, to that extent, an inflation sets in. Just like somebody who steals money, who loots money, to that extent, you are creating some level of inflation. So they are also in a way creating some level of inflation in the economy. As a matter of fact, if you look at the manifesto of the Socialist Party of Nigeria, we are saying that all political office holder must collect the average wage of a skilled worker. What we mean is that the average wage of the salary structure of the civil servant. What is good for the goods should be good for the gander. What is good for political office holders should be good for workers. What is good for workers
should... Political office so unattractive.
That is what we want to do. If you make it unattractive, people get to power not because they want to go and profit. I don't know if you understand politics. You have people who go to banks to borrow money. So when they borrow money, say 200 million, they are going to pay back maybe 400, 500 million. So they must, in a way, collect jumbo salaries, they must loot, and the rest of them must. So we are opposed to that. And the bourgeois establishment has a way of removing the leaders far away from the people they represent. You know why? Because they don't want the leaders to come under pressure that the ordinary people come under. Because if they come under the same pressure, no lights, no electricity, no water, bad roads, that means also that they will be interested in fixing those things. Do you understand? That means they will have to confront the ruling class, capitalist ruling class. So they don't want it, so they make them super rich, take them far away from the people, and so that their issues, at least privately, will be resolved. So if they have a problem with the community schools, they send their children abroad, they pay £5,000, £7,000, £10,000. If they have health challenges, they fly abroad, even if it's headache. I mean, their wives want to give birth, they want to go to abroad to get citizenship. So these guys don't even believe in this country. They don't have any stake in this country. This country is just like a clearinghouse for them to just make the money. Jet is waiting for them to jet out at this slightest possible time. So we are opposed to it. We are demanding that should be reversed to the wage of those they represent. As a matter of fact, if the party in power is serious, it's something they can achieve. It's because all of them believe in that philosophy of collecting that kind of jumbo allowance. Because the National Assembly have no power to fix their salaries and emoluments. They have no power. It is the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission that has the power to fix emoluments of political office holders. You understand? And those is an agency of the federal government. You understand? So where institutions are working, the National Assembly will only fall in line with the mandate given to that agency to fix salaries and allowances. We are opposed to it. We are calling for a total reversal. As a matter of fact, we as a party, even if we win, perhaps in one place, the agenda is for that political officer from the Socialist Party of Nigeria to collect the wage of an average skilled worker. Where we don't control the machineries of power, which also means that even if you leave the money there, it will be looted. You collect the average wage of a skilled worker, you donate the remaining one to the party so that they can use that to build the party and so that it doesn't come to you privately. But where we control machineries of power, like for instance, you are in power in Lagos State, the money, you don't even have to touch it. Your due allowances and salaries are paid to you. That is in line with the salary structure of the ordinary people. When we did our calculation, I think it's 1.1 trillion that is being earned by about 17,000 of these political office holders from local government to national level. 1.1 trillion. So if you even subject them to say 700,000 monthly, you see I've saved at least 1 trillion. Imagine 1 trillion or 900 billion going to education. Imagine the millions of jobs that will create. You understand? Imagine that going to health, rural development, and the rest of them. When they say Nigeria is poor, we have resources. No, compared to US, perhaps. But when you are talking about resources, we have the resources to turn around this country. Particularly if you are looking at also the commanding height of the economy, taking that in the hands of the state, we have enormous resources to, invest in the people and the economy. As a matter of fact, Section 16, that is Chapter 2 of the Constitution, states clearly that the state should control the major sectors of the economy. It should not be left in the hands of private individuals or few privileged individuals. It's there. So what we are saying is not too different from what is in the Constitution, quite frankly. Because that was why China was able to drive the economy. They had the revolution in 1949. Yes. You understand? China in 20 years, from 1949 to now, 20 years after, has surpassed many countries. You understand? So it is because they took the commanding height of the economy into state ownership and unleashed it on the economy, in terms of investment. That was the difference. There was no democratic control like we are even demanding for or we are calling for. But at least they made some impact. Currently, China is host to very big infrastructure. The Three Gorges Dam is in China. They are doing 22,000 megawatts. Just one hydroelectric dam, in China. They just spent about, $26 billion. We have spent over $20 billion and we have not gone past 5,000 megawatts. It's just unfortunate.
In terms of monetization, charging of arbitrary nomination fees on political aspirants, what is the stand of the Socialist Party of Nigeria? In some parties, you want to go for governorship, the form, you have an expression of intention and all that. All these forms cost money.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the same in the Socialist Party of Nigeria? Do we know if in other countries they pay nomination fees as well?
In certain countries they pay, but not as much as what we have in Nigeria. In many countries they don't pay at all. The stand of the Socialist Party of Nigeria in that respect is to state clearly that it is not needed in any way to have aspirants begin to show interest by paying money. I mean, the last we had, even with President Buhari, was that he paid over 20 million naira. How many school teachers can afford that? Because if you want politics where the vast majority will participate, understand? If you begin to charge 500,000, 2 million, 10 million, many people has been excluded, has been edged or elbowed aside. Yes. So if you check our manifesto of the Socialist Party of Nigeria, we made it quite clear that intention to contest, intention to vie is free for everybody, irrespective who you are. So that because we want to mass produce politics. Politics as we have it now is the exclusive preserve of a few. That's what we have.
But elections cost money. How are you going to cope with that spending? If other parties are spending,
yes,
you're campaigning, you have to rent halls.
Yeah.
You have to provide sometimes refreshments for people coming to listen to your candidates, their campaign promises and all that. These things cost money. Moving from one place to the other, even between wards.
Yes. It costs money. Everything you do costs money. If you want to move from point A to point B, it costs money. Because you begin to imagine how did China make the revolution in 1949. They didn't depend on the money bag. In fact, the struggle was against the money bag, the bourgeois class. The Soviet Union also the same thing, 1917. How did they make the revolution? It was workers, contribution of workers, peasants, that people who contributed the money. So we are going to also have the same templates. Because if you have 1 million, even 200,000 people as members and they are contributing 200 or 500, then you are going to have enormous resources to do campaigns, to mobilize. And don't forget also, we are, as a party, we will not be paying for every services. People are going to also be making sacrifices on their own, apart from the money they have contributed.
In kind.
They are going to be moving from one place to another to campaign. These are unquantifiable, resources that are not being paid for. So we have that kind of templates. We know we need money, but that is not the challenge. The challenge is getting the people to agree to your philosophy, to your manifesto. When you get the people to agree, of course, you're going to get the money. How did the first meeting he had was just about 8 of them in the meeting when they were to form the action group. But before you know it, he became a mass party, at least in the southwest of Nigeria. How did they do that? They were subscription from members, from people, from farmers, from workers. That's how they generated most of the resources with which they ran campaigns. Because if you subject, a political party to that template, that means you're also allowing powers in power to keep their hands in public funds, get money to run campaigns. And we are going to also run very honest campaign, not the very gigantic campaign that we see. Of course, for us, even the media, if media gives every political party the same coverage, and it's not paid for, that reduces costs elsewhere. You understand? So you have different ways you can also manage your campaigns. Well, the priority is to get people to agree, so that from there you get the money. In fact, your financial strength will also determine your strength in terms of mobilization, in terms of your party status.
One of the things that I discussed with the PDP senator that I interviewed recently, Senator was that in this country we don't have shadow cabinets. If you have a shadow cabinet in the main opposition party to tackle the ruling party on certain issues, that Nigerians are talking about, is it something the Socialist Party will explore? For instance, in Lagos State with the land use charge, now people are protesting. Perhaps the Socialist Party of Nigeria has a shadow cabinet. You'll be able to express your own concern and offer alternatives to the government of Lagos State. What do you think about that?
Well, that is one of our methods in terms of reaching out to the people, because it's not enough to have a political party registered. It's not enough. You have to have it running. You also offer the alternative. Quite frankly, most of the parties don't have alternatives. So you have to offer the alternative. It's clear. And we have been doing that even before we became a political party. And so that is what we are going to be doing. That is what we have been doing. We issue statements regularly. We mobilize against such policies regularly. We state the alternative. For instance, on the land use charge law in Lagos State, we are telling the government that you should tax the rich and leave the poor alone, and to manage their crisis created by themselves, by the same ruling class. So, because when you charge exorbitantly on properties, it's transferred back to tenants, to ordinary people. The landlords will not bear this, if they bear perhaps a minute fraction of it, they are going to transfer most of it to the tenant. So why charge? And in the real sense of it, it is the responsibility of the local government to charge tenement rate. Fourth schedule, the functions of the local government. 1J states clearly that the local government is its responsibility to do those things. Yes. And Supreme Court has given a judgment in that respect. Court of Appeal has given judgment in that respect in 1998 when Frank versus Attorney General of Kano in 1990. Court of Appeal ruled that a tier of government does not have the power to delegate its functions. You don't have it. 8 years after, it was upheld by the Supreme Court. So what they are doing is illegality. In the first instance, it's local government's responsibility. But even at that, we have all kinds of multiple taxation in Lagos. Very soon, I'm not sure, perhaps when you walk on the street, you pay tax. If they look at you and see that you have a bigger nose, they say you breathe more air, you pay tax, more tax. So it's that problem. We are calling for taxation that is more on the rich. And of course, certain layers of even the poor should be exempted from taxation. But they are poor already, so they are crushed by want and poverty. So why tax them in addition? And we are also calling for progressive taxation. That's what happens in many countries.
Progressive taxation mean?
Progressive taxation means that you tax the people more as their income progresses or their property progresses. But the land use charge is regressive taxation because it's the same rate for everybody. Whether I have a 1 billion naira property, whether I have 300 million naira property, whether I have 20 million, 10 million, 5 million property, it's the same rate. It's an unfair taxation. So we are calling for a reversal of the law so that people are charged based on what they actually have as income. And don't forget also that in the personal income law, you have also that you have to pay tax based on income from rent. So it's double taxation. If I earn a rent, I have a property, I pay that. I pay tax on land use charge. I pay for borehole. Because
is that borehole tax, is it true?
It's true if you have 50 gallons and above. For instance, if I have an hostel and I consume 50 gallons and above, or a guest house, you understand, I pay the borehole tax.
What is the alternative? What alternative has the state government provided for those who have boreholes? Because I assume that people only build boreholes because there is no access to regular public supply of
water. In fact, the people are paying for the failure of the government. As we speak, Lagos does not have potable water. It has maybe very few areas.
And is it regular?
It's not even regular in that instance. So if you have failed, the honest thing to do is to just keep quiet and try to see whether you can remedy the situation. Not for you to now begin to pass on the problem of your failure on the people. I can't understand borehole in the 80s or in the 70s. How many people were doing boreholes? Yeah. You understand? In fact, some of these boreholes are even close to sewage tanks and other stuff, and it's not an ideal thing. In civilized countries,
some of them cause faults in the
yes, in civilized countries, in advanced countries, you have central water, you have central sewage, everything is centralized. So that I don't need to begin to dig borehole. The gas comes into my house, from the central source. Water comes into my house from the central source. My waste goes into a central, what they know how to do, whatever they want to do with it. So it's everything now is being privatized to contribute to build your own roads. You contribute to get security, and you contribute to get your own water. You send your children to private schools. You go to private hospitals. So government failed woefully. And now they are coming back to attack us for trying to make the best use of the circumstances. It's not as if you build a house, you are talking about 300,000 to build borehole. It's an added cost. If government was supplying water, you don't need to do that. It's a whole lot of things government has abandoned, neglected, but they are coming back again to attack the same people who are suffering the failure of government neglect.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chinedu, for speaking with me today on the program.
Thank you very much, Angela.
And thank you for watching. I'm Angela Ajitimobi.